Evening, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Uncle Fester here. So this has been a long time coming, to be honest with you. I've been very reluctant to do this video. I've got my reasons because I'm going to bring old Bully Biscuit on, and I'm going to bring an old friend on. All right, Noel. And the last time we had one of these talks, we said we were going to come back, and we haven't. And this is the second time we've come back, and I've avoided it. And I've got my reasons, because I'll tell you when Noel comes on, all right? Because I've got to apologise to Noel. But I'm going to bring Bully Biscuit on. Bully Biscuit, how are you, son?
Bloody marvellous, Will China. Bloody marvellous.
This is a long time coming, this one is, mate. It's a long time coming, and yeah, I've avoided this, mate. I apologise. And I'll apologise to Noel when he comes on now, all right? Because I got to a stage where I feel members of the public don't really give a crap of what's going on, when they should be waking up, and they should all be, seems to be all tinted glasses on. So let's bring Noel on, all right? Noel, my old brother, how are you, son?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Look, mate, firstly, I'm going to apologise.
Okay.
Because we done this and we went on about the corruption and everything, all right, and then we just let it go. And to be honest with you, I avoided it, and I've avoided this like a plague because it's massive. But people need to know, and people need to understand what's really going on. So yeah, I think we'll touch base on a few things today, where we are with things, and catch up with each other. And then we need to do a follow-on within the week on what we're going to say today. All right? But I think the three of us, and as many veterans out there, and many people out there today who are asking questions of the government, asking questions of them, where the money's going and what's going on. To be honest with you, if I look inside, I got an emotion at the moment, and I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling a lot of frustration. And if I tapped into that, and I look into my mind, what my mind is saying to me, people are not interested in this, Clive. Let it go. Don't tell anybody about it. Nobody needs to know. If you go and bring this out in the open, the government's going to come and shut us down, and they're not going to like it. So I'm telling myself these thoughts, and it's negative. It's putting me into a negative place. So, how have you been, Noel?
I've been very well, sir.
Good, good.
Can you both hear me? Can you both hear me okay?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Ish.
So let me kick off why I feel like I do at the moment. Can you remember this story? I'm going to add it to the stream now. Can you remember this story?
Oh, yeah.
Commonwealth soldiers went to the High Court and they were rejected. 8 veterans, immigration case. They were rejected by the High Court. They served our British Army from the Commonwealth, Fiji, and their claims of immigration claims were rejected. I tell you what, why it's gripping me, all right? Because immigration at this moment in time is still on the increase across the water. How many people do you think are crossing now at the moment?
I would say we are probably looking at about 150 illegal immigrants are coming over the water now a day.
They had a boat. They caught a boat the other day with 49 immigrants on it. All right, and potentially a lot of them are getting refuge in the UK. But we got soldiers who served our country, and they can't even get immigration status. And I'll tell you what is really, really gripping me at the moment is this. British Army recruiting to open in May. And have a guess where they're going. They're recruiting soldiers from the Commonwealth countries in May.
And
All
then
right,
when they leave the army, they will not give them British citizenship. Wow.
And that's what's really, really
That
gripping
stinks.
now, gents.
That really, really stinks.
All right. And here it comes, look. This is what was in the paper on the 19th of February. Fiji Commonwealth nation providing most recruits to the British Army under the recruitment drive launched 2 years ago. The island nation, all right, a total of 620 recruits enlisted up in September 2020. Ghana, 230 citizens answer the call. But they don't get. And if you read this, who can join the UK Armed Forces nationality resident requirement? All right. And he says once the service has ended, a veteran and family members must apply for a visa to remain in the UK. It should be given to them automatically.
Exactly.
Or leave the country. You've just served the country. You just sacrificed. You were willing to give your life. And, you know, they're willing to let them go. Commonwealth group, ex-servicemen and their family may be eligible for indefinite leave to remain in the UK after 4 years service. But them guys, they've just turned down. So that's one thing that really got me going at the moment. And that's not even with the contracts. If you look at what the contracts given out by the government during COVID, the MPs have been giving contracts out, and it goes into billions.
To their mates.
Of taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money.
Say again?
Of taxpayers' money.
Taxpayers' money. But this is, I don't know if you've seen this article. This was last year. 3 MPs launched legal action against the government after officials allegedly failed to account for $3 billion in private contracts during coronavirus, pandemic. That was last year. That was October last year. And if you look at it now, it's still going on. Matt Hancock defends giving 30 million COVID contract to a former friend. All right, Matt Hancock's pub landlord neighbour faces a probe. Matt Hancock, ex-pub landlord, won huge COVID testing kits contract. The MPs are really... So that got me thinking, who's paying for that? Who is going to pay for that?
We are, of course.
We are. But it ain't going to be us, Craig. It's going to be our children. It's going to be the family of our children. All right? And the taxpayer. So where I am at the moment, it's really, really getting me. It's getting my blood boiling at the moment, because we know Serco have got their fingers in the pie. We know many corporates got their fingers in the pie. We done this last time, Noel, yeah?
Do you know the ironic thing is, and it always brings it back. And I think this is kind of what started my journey on the corruption to do with the corporations, and in particular Serco. You know, we've said it before, but anybody who's just listening just now, Rupert Soames is the CEO of Serco.
Yeah.
Rupert Soames is Winston Churchill's grandson. Now, this is a company, a limited company, that has picked up nuclear contracts, which is more worrying. They're in with the Department of Work and Pensions. I mean, if you went into the contracts, Clive, that Serco have got, I mean, the very worrying thing is that they're involved with nuclear capability.
Well, mate, they're involved with nuclear. They're involved in every part of our system. And if you think about it now, what is coming is they're now looking at the digital ID card. The digital ID card's coming. All right. We're going to get a digital currency. The central bank is working on digital currency. Everything is, they already got us monitored. All right. We're already becoming a communist state if you look at it, because everything is monitored. But the only people making money at this moment in time is government and their friends. I see a lot of poor people. I see a lot of people, businesses hurting because of these restrictions. I see a lot of businesses are going to change, mate. Corporates are loving this. The only people making money are corporates. All right. So and MPs are making money, believe it or not.
Was it recently as well? Was it recently as well that some of the lords had had a meeting and it was recorded? I'm not sure by an undercover journalist or something like that, but it did hit the newspapers. A lord turned around and was smiling and said, "COVID, the gift that keeps on giving."
David. Yeah. Man,
how on earth, as a society, can we accept that the so-called House of Lords that stopped Brexit as well? You know, they stopped Brexit. Whether, you know, we're not here to discuss whether it was Brexit or whether we were Remainers or whatever, but the bottom line is that the House of Lords stopped Brexit. Why? I don't know why. I can only think
fingers in the
that
pie, mate.
all of that the establishment had so much corruption within Europe that they were just adamant that we weren't going to leave. But you can't go against your own people. And I can't stand this government. I can't stand it. Every time I look at...
Gents, I'm going to be honest.
The French got it right in 1789.
Revolution.
Say that again.
Revolution.
The French got it right in 1789.
But Craig, look, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to push it out there because some MPs are fighting. Some MPs are turning on and fighting, and they're getting beat down. All right, and that's the biggest concern I've got. And I'll tell you what, I found a website today. Don't forget, we've got veterans, we've got armed forces personnel suffering. All right. I tell you what, there's going to be some cuts coming in the future. Forget COVID. COVID is only scraping the surface. Mental health is going to be massive. We got our blue light services at the moment, and they are suffering. That's the next Afghanistan and Iraq for charities. Charities are going to be jumping on that. All right. Charities. We've got so many charities. We have 800 million, 1 billion a year going to charities. And we can't even get a 24/7 outline out there. SAFA were given £950,000 during COVID to stop loneliness and isolation. Do you know that outline only works from 9 o'clock till 5:30? 950,000 they got given by the government. And the worst thing is, MPs, expenses. Do you know how much money the expenses are with MPs?
Go on.
Well, I'm going to share this with you because I found it tonight, and I tell you what. So there's a Conservative, all right. I found his name in the paper, so I was intrigued how much money he's claimed. From the 1st of June to 2019 to 31st of May 2020, 48,000. All right, they don't go 2020, 21, but 2018, 2019. Read that figure out for me, Craig.
Where are we? £198,554.31.
And if I go down, staffing. And I thought, ooh, this is not a bad little thing to look at. I tell you what I'll do. I'll have a look at somebody else. Matt Hancock.
Oh.
How many brown envelopes has he got coming under his door at the moment?
Wow.
Did you see him having a go with Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan ripped into him? I'll have to get that clip up. It was remarkable. He was on the defensive as soon as he got on with Piers Morgan, and started, you know, Piers Morgan did have a go at him, and it was a cracking video. All right, and I sometimes Piers Morgan, I think, oh, you twat. But I thought that morning, hey, get in there, boy, Bach. But look at this now. All right, 2018, 2019. Work it out, gents. They get more in expenses than they do in their salary.
So he's claimed between 200,000 and 400, and is that 37,000?
No, that was 40,000. Right, 2018, 2019, he claimed 201,000. This is what they're saying. But in
201,000, yeah.
2019 to 2020, 56,000. Don't forget, they didn't travel as much, did they? You know, COVID. They didn't travel as much. 2017 to 2018, 193,000.
Wow.
And then I thought, I'll go and see how my old friend Johnny's doing. Because Johnny, he never reaches out when you call him. And these MPs, they ignore you. How many emails have you written, Craig? How many emails? I've written emails about the veterans.
Lost count.
I've been to see Johnny Mercer. I've been to see him.
This is Johnny Mercer so far. In 2019 to May 2020, 69,000. That's only 375 claims. And then if I went to 2018, 2019...
No. What's that? Nearly 200,000 in claims.
Yeah.
How many matches has he got? Johnny.
But hang on. Watch this now. I thought, oh, it's got to be staff costs. It's got to include his travel claims. Staff costs, 55,000. All right. Travel claims, still 38. He's claiming. All right.
What for?
How many staff have they got? He must have.
Yeah, but they look after their wives, their girlfriends. You know, all of these people. As soon as they get voted in, I don't even know what an MP's salary is, and I don't want to know because it would only sicken me. How much is he on, Johnny Mercer? 90 odd grand a year, is he? Got to be on 90 grand a year, is he?
Basic salary, because they've had a pay rise, is 84,000, I believe. But he's in a ministerial role, so he goes up. So it's. Oh, I tell you what, we will do.
Baroness Stedman Scott?
I tell you what, Craig, I left a message on her answer machine for her to get back in touch with me.
No, she hasn't responded yet.
Oh, hell. I can't even find her on there. I can't even find her because I can't spell her name because it's doing my head in. Just thinking about it.
Scott. Stedman-Scott.
No, it's no match. I don't know where she is. Anyway,
Well,
she's not an MP though, is she? She's not an MP though.
No, she's not. She's not an
She's
MP.
an unelected member of the House of Lords. She's a House from member of the House of Lords.
So who's your other favourite one? MP, Craig?
Oh,
all MPs. Let's see what that says.
Oh, Therese Coffey. Therese Coffey. Let's have a look at her, shall we?
Oh, look at that.
How much is it?
All MPs, 28 million.
Nearly 29 million. Nearly 29 million there.
Nearly 29 million.
And is that just in expenses?
Yeah, just expenses, man.
Do you know, the worrying thing about what's going on at the moment, Clive, is none of these MPs at all are accountable to anybody or anything or anyone. They're just not accountable because they've got the police on their side. You know, there's that big scandal that's going on at the moment where some of those lords, what was his name? The Field Marshal Bramall, when they raided their homes, when Hogan Howe, and I keep saying it, about that commissioner, Hogan Howe of the Metropolitan Police. He has a chalet in the Courchevel in the French Alps. That's Simon Cowell's money. That's his second home. The Courchevel in the French Alps. Listen to what I'm saying to you. A police commissioner who I think is on about 350 grand a year. A police commissioner. Well, they're only in office for 5 years. And I think that those chalets in the Courchevel, I think they start at about 5 million. And that's just for starters. That's like a flat.
I tell you what, my mother was in politics, all right, in Wales. And she once said to me, Clive, you want to get into politics? The Kinnocks got into politics the same time as me. And they went to the big house. And they're millionaires now. They were school teachers. They didn't have nothing. They didn't have a, sorry, let's use this word. They didn't have a pot to piss in. And I was like, what? She said, Clive, you do 5 years in, you get up to 1 million. I was like, get out of here. No, I believe her. I'm sorry, ma'am. Yeah, but look at these highest claiming MPs. 9 total claimed. And this is July. Don't forget, nothing happened in July, between July 2019 and May 2020. They didn't travel like they used to. 96,000. But you've got the lowest MPs, and Jacob Rees-Mogg, he didn't claim anything. Zach Goldsmith didn't claim anything. George Hollingberry didn't claim anything. So something is, oh man, it does wind me up. Really gets me going.
Clive,
Well,
Clive, I've just sent you a link on the private chat there. It's for the expenses scandal of 2009. People must not forget about that scandal because it's still happening.
let's have a look. Oh yeah.
Can't forget about that.
This
Cannot
is my
forget
favorite
about
friend. Real story, MP's expenses. I remember this, and I remember this.
Straw claimed a full council tax on his second home.
It's all been laid bare in the last couple of weeks.
Do you know what kicked that off?
I tell you what,
Clive,
Craig.
do you know how this came into being? Because
Go
there
on.
was guys home from Afghanistan on leave,
Yeah.
and they were doing this job to, the security for that place where they do the expenses.
Yeah,
You know what? I've read the book, and these guys were home on leave, and they were doing security to make some extra money so they could buy kit for Afghanistan. And the people who were doing that, they couldn't believe what was going on, and they were going through these expenses, and they saw these guys who were there home on leave. Instead of spending it with their family, they were there doing security jobs to pay for equipment that they needed for an operational tour. And this is, someone bubbled them. Someone bubbled, they got wind of all this stuff, and they saw the stuff that the MPs were claiming for, while these guys were there, doing a shitty job in Afghanistan and having to buy their own kit to keep them safe and comfortable, basically. And
remember
these guys were claiming all sorts of shit, duck ponds,
Hey.
and
Remember when I worked for Sodexo last year doing COVID testing?
Mm-hmm.
I had a manager phone me up from Sodexo. He'd been released because he had concerns. I'm going to get him on to do a video with us, because I tell you what he said to me was, and I've heard it from other people, they're sitting in hotels. They've been actually deployed around the country, sitting in hotels, and they haven't been testing, and they've been getting paid loads of money for sitting in hotels. I've got to tell you that. And extra teams have been put on to do testing now, but they're only testing less than 50 people. But they're still using 11-man teams, and they're still paying them, I think it's 10 to 18 pound an hour they're paying them. I was on 18 pound an hour.
I mean, this is exactly what I wanted to sort of flag up to you. So I was mobilised as part of Operation Rescript.
Yeah.
Yeah. which was eventually what the military did, was took over the testing. And I mentioned this the last time. So we took over the testing, and I believe that military intelligence was working with the NHS.
Yeah.
So they were analysing the data. The infantry and other regiments were out there doing the testing. It was a very good system. We had all the mobile testing units.
Yeah.
You know, it's the simple thing that when the army does something, it does an amazing job.
Yeah.
Because that's why we've got Sandhurst. That's why we've got the infantry battle school, where you go and you learn those modules that make us great as an army.
Yeah.
Well, we were mobilised for 6 months. So we're all under the impression that we were going to be mobilised for 6 months. So after 3 months, all of our tours got cut short. We were told that's the end of that. After 3 months, no more taskings. And then all of a sudden, Serco picked up the test and trace contract for £414 million.
Oh,
And nobody keeps picking up, and I can't stand him, that Kevin Maguire, that journalist. He's on Piers Morgan every single morning, and he says the same thing, and I've got to agree with him. He says the same thing over and over and over again every single morning. I don't understand why the government is branding it the NHS test and trace. It's not NHS. The NHS have absolutely nothing to do with test and trace. The army has nothing to do with test and trace. It is Serco. They've got the contract for it.
But don't forget, test and trace, digital. The passport you've got to have for a jab. They're going to bring digital in. It's coming within a digital revolution. So what a time for them to bring it in. And sometimes, if I sat down and looked at it, is it a good thing? Yeah, because they've already got us under surveillance. So it's just another form, and it could help with, if they got the digital in there correctly, it could help. But this government, oh mate.
Well, as soon as you accept that app, you know, when you scan your QR codes, or as soon as you accept that app, Serco have got all the data of your phone.
On your phone, yeah, exactly, and 100%. And the other thing is as well. So I've got that going on as well. All right, and I'm getting annoyed because MPs are not listening, and you know the thing with the, you know, we've got the thing with Gavin and Ian. All right, I reached out to the HSE because I was concerned, and I'm concerned the way CMS, and I tell you what, I've got to cover this with CMS. And I think, Noel, I think you sent me this. CMS holding my money, blaming my ex-employer. And this is unbelievable. Going through it, why am I paying 20,000, not seeing my daughter? CMS making money, even though I've already paid. Fraudulent CSA not paying me full amount. This is from a woman. CSA trying to make up fiction. Well, we know about the fictitious claims, don't we? We know about them. And we know about, I tell you what, suicide levels.
Well, exactly. I mean, the suicide levels, you know, we've spoken about that numerous times. And unfortunately, you know, there's, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of men that have committed suicide because of the unlawful operations of the child maintenance service, the old child support agency. Everybody, yet again, is missing the point that they were shut down in 2012 for false accounting. Yeah, that should have been the end of it. But no, because the government knew what a money spinner it was, they then changed it from the CSA to the CMS. We, you know, have updated all of these systems, and, you know, we're encouraging private arrangements and all of this bullshit. Yeah, just all bullshit. And all we're interested in is the welfare of children. Well,
No.
Let me just stop you. Let me just continue with this. I actually thought of a very, very valid point earlier, and we're going to put this out there for everybody to hear this and everybody to know it. The government uses children as a weapon, and we know that they use children as a weapon every single day, and they market themselves the welfare of the child. Well, I hate the word welfare anyway, because when I was on operational tour, you know, you had welfare facilities. That's where you went and had a dump, or that's where you went to go to the toilet. Yeah. So, you know, so saying welfare concerns and welfare, it's just a name that's put out there, but it sounds nice. So the real sickening thing about this is if they actually really genuinely cared about children, the misfortunate child, and I get emotional every time I think about that child, Baby P.
But
what happened to Baby P?
Yeah, but no.
The grooming that's gone on in Rotherham, Leeds, Yorkshire, where nothing, not a thing has been done about it. And last night, Clive, Monday night, I watched something on the TV where the police were running a sting operation. Now, I've got to take my hat off to the police because I don't know how they do that job. Where they were on Grindr, and it was men who were contacting 14-year-old boys for sex. But you know what these people were getting in terms of sentences, and the police are sitting there scratching their head. Now, I don't particularly like the police because I believe that they're as corrupt as anybody else, but I've got to give them credit where credit's due. And I don't know how they do that job and remain professional. I have no idea.
No, I'm going to tell you now. I couldn't do a police officer's job, mate. I couldn't do their job. There's no respect in this world today, and they get treated like shit. All right, and I couldn't be a prison officer. I couldn't do the police. I probably couldn't do. Mate, I couldn't serve anymore. All right, and because there's no respect there anymore. All right, but what I'm going to tell you is, what really, really gets to me today is, look, the CMS is built on making money on vulnerable people, all right, and relationships, money, breakdown of relationships, money is the key to mental health. And do you know how many people commit suicide in the construction industry?
2 a day.
They're saying there's an estimated 2 a day.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was 2 a day. Is there a reason for that? Because I'm in the construction industry. Is there a reason for that?
No, I'm teaching at the moment CITB, the SMSTS. I'm teaching the SSSTS, and in their modulars we do mental health, and they say 1 in 4 people have contemplated committing suicide in the construction industry. And every time I've done the course, I actually put my hand up and said, I've contemplated committing suicide. Mate, I can guarantee 4 to 5 other people in that course, after I've done a talk, all come out and say the same. And it's absolutely so, and it's money orientated, it's relationship breaks down. All right. That's the key underlying factors. And where we are today, mate, is I'm absolutely scared. And I'll tell you why I'm scared. And I'm frustrated and angry. Because we got systems built in this country to manipulate vulnerable people. And I think about Gavin. And I wrote a letter. Not a lot of people know this. And I wrote a letter, Craig is aware of it, to the HSE, head of HSE, Health and Safety Executive. And I am a health and safety professional. And I actually wrote and said, under the Health and Safety Work Act 1974, I believe the Secretary of State has a responsibility and potentially CMS is a private organisation. They've made 40 million last year profit. They've driven people to potential suicide. We know because we've.
Can I? I'll speak to you after this. When you've
Yeah.
said this, I'll speak to you after this about
All
this.
right. And this is an email I got. Dear Mr. Spencer, thank you for your email on 28th of January. This is the first, mind you, I'll give it to the HSE. At least they actually responded to me. I've got MPs
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right. Thank you for this email. 25th of January 2020. It was 2021, actually. To Sarah Alban, HSE Chief Executive, and apologies for the delay. Sarah has asked me to reply to you as the head of HSE Operational Policy Team, covering public administration, education, volunteers. This includes the duties of government departments and the Health and Safety Work Act 1974. Please let me say, so sorry to hear of the death of their friend's son. His loss demonstrates the importance of the valuable work you do in supporting people like Gavin through difficult, changing times. Don't know where he's getting his, because we didn't say we supported. You have asked the HSE to help in addressing concerns about actions of the child maintenance services that you believe contributed to his suicide and have a detrimental effect on the mental health of some of those you have been seeking support. I regret that we are unable to help you with your concerns, as the Health and Safety of Work Act does not give the HSE authority to intervene in the discharge of statutory or other functions by other government departments, including CMS. So, for example, we would not regulate how the CMS carry out their functions related to the calculation payments and dispute resolution. There are, however, other procedures to making complaints and seek readiness of matters. If you have not done already, and then they go on and give you the procedures and the complaints ombudsman. Do you know the worst thing is? No, we've gone to the places where they've told us to go make complaints. So I phoned the guy up and I said, look, corporate manslaughter. Why can't we look at them on corporate manslaughter for negligence? He virtually told me, can't touch the government, mate. Government entities are rude to
You're
their
not
own.
above the law.
The ironic
How
thing,
the law's above you.
I mean, the ironic thing about this is that it's not government. I mean, we've proved beyond reasonable doubt that this is Serco that's behind this. It's a limited company. And also, Craig, you're very aware of the laws regarding how a subject, which is how they refer to us as a subject, is treated under the Equalities Act when the CMS, and they are duty bound, legally bound to run a risk assessment and a method statement.
That's section 149 of the Equality Act 2010.
So they are legally bound to run what effect, by them carrying out that enforcement action, what effect is that going to have on that person? And I bet you, if you were to contact or do a freedom of information with the CMS, I mean, the CMS is just completely and totally unaccountable to anything, anyone, and they are just running riot and absolutely causing destruction in anything. And it's like a nuclear weapon.
Do you know something? 1,000 suicides per year has been over 1,000 suicides per year. And do you know, we were saying they've made like 140 million pound of profit or whatever, but each individual suicide cost the taxpayer 1.7 million pounds each
year. Yeah.
So that's each suicide. So really, how much is that? They've made 140 million pound profit, but one suicide cost the taxpayer 1.7 million pounds. And there's over 1,000 suicides per year because of what they do.
Do you know the interesting thing? And I think you've all seen this. And I was flabbergasted when I got sent it. I'm going to show it. Staffing level.
Yeah, I think you said that to me, Neil, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I put this on our group the other day.
Yeah.
That's shocking. That is absolute shocking.
Can you just read it out? Can you just read it out, Clive, so that everybody understands the biasness?
So what we've just showed on here is something we had shared with us. Below is a table of all CSA staff in an assessment teams in the United Kingdom, broken down by gender. CSA assessment team staff: female 3,759, male 1,361. So over 2/3 female in the assessment team. My question is, there's no bias, gents, is there? If you're Serco, you're going to do you know where I would be recruiting?
Single mothers, angry single mothers.
Yeah. Below is a table of all CSA court presenting officers in the United Kingdom, breaking down by gender. CSA enforcement team staff. Enforcement. Female, 1,952. Male, 793.
Do you know what's also interesting? We done an FOI a few years ago, and we asked the percentage of how many ex-CSA staff were in the independent case examiner's office, and it was 29% of ex-CSA staff in ICE.
But my biggest concern is, as we said, it's about the children. Yeah, everybody should be paying for their children. Everybody should be there. You know, me and Craig went on about this the other day, and there's so much bitterness, and the parents who are fighting forget the children sometimes, and that's the worst thing about it. And for mental health, it's going to be massive. Money is going to be massive. You know, we've got a financial crash coming. People haven't got a clue. People haven't got a clue what's coming behind COVID. Mental health is, and somebody said to me, stop scaremongering. It's not scaremongering. It's actual fact. It's reality. You know.
Well, mental health, Clive. Mental health has, been on a very serious rise for a very long time, and all three of us here, sitting here, have all had our mental health problems. We all have. It predominantly affects the veteran community. I'm not saying that it's just the veteran community that suffer from mental health, but it's in different ways that we suffer with our mental health, because obviously, you've been doing this high octane job, and then you kind of come back to England or the UK, and the next thing you're sitting on a train or you're driving a bus or something. So it's completely different. But, I think at the moment, there's just so much pressure on you constantly. I mean, every letter that comes through the door, someone's threatening you. I had one of those census forms that came through from the council, recently, so they ask you to fill it out. And then in the next step, in big red capital letters, if you do not comply, we can take you to court and you could be fined £1,000. Why? Why are we talking to human beings? We are all human beings, regardless of race, gender, creed. We are all just human beings. We've all been born into this world. We've all been born into this life, and we're all just trying to do our own thing. And the government, from day to day to day, it's bully tactics, it's scare tactics all the time. The CMS runs its whole business model on fear. The fear that they put into fathers. They make fathers feel guilty that they're a father, and then when they make them feel guilty that they're a father, then they extort money. It is extortion that is going on at the moment. The police are aware of what's going on. The National Crime Agency is aware of what's going on. Soccer are aware of what's going on. Military intelligence is aware of what's going on, and the military, but nobody is prepared to turn around and say, this is unacceptable, what we are doing to human beings. It's not about fathers. It's not about mothers. There's an agency that's out there that is absolutely destroying people's lives. They should have nuclear codes for the child maintenance service for what they are doing to human beings, the way that everybody in the judiciary is paid off. They're all on these big fat salaries. Nobody can get justice anywhere. All you keep hearing is, I mean,
that really boils my piss, you know. I'm sorry, no. The fact that these MPs are getting all that money, and they've got constitutional obligations, and yeah, exactly. But and there's the judiciary there, and people are being seriously damaged by the CSA, the illegal actions by the child support agency. When your life's been destroyed by them, you can't get any compensation and damages for the stuff that I've done to you. But yet the government are handing out to their friends billions of pounds of taxpayers' money to their mates.
No, forget that, Craig.
It really does.
Forget that they're giving contracts to their friends millions upon billions of pounds. Exactly like what you're saying. The CMS is the enemy of the state when you're a father.
No.
Yeah, they are the enemy.
But it's not.
They are a threat.
Hang on, let's stop you. It's not just fathers. All right. Look, let's get this open. It's not just fathers. You've actually got women as well. Why? Women. You've all. Do you know the worst thing is? During COVID, they transferred half their team to the DWP or more, and then they blamed the fathers because the mothers weren't getting money for the children. They were actually, because they moved their staff, so it's actually broken. We've got people out there who got children, and they're taking the money off the fathers, and they're not actually giving it to the women. So it's failing. The system is broken and it's failing. It needs to radical change. It needs to be the best people to run the system.
Do you know, I mean, Craig and myself, Bad.
Get the fathers.
Craig and myself. Craig and myself, Clive, have often had many conversations, about this. And if you forget politics, forget anybody being liberal here, forget any of that. We have always said, if you genuinely have the child's best interests at heart, then surely the child should live with the parent who can maintain the best life possible for that child. That is the simple solution to this problem. And I'm sure that there'll be people out there saying, oh, we're right-wing Nazis, we're extremists, we're this, we're that. But that is the bottom line. If you cut through all the red tape and you sit here and you say, this is the way it's going to be, that the child will live with the parent who can best provide for that child.
But here we go. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't happen. Because the mother and father are fighting each other because they're playing victim. They get angry, get in conflict, they get concerned, but they never take responsibility together and they never go into reconciliation. All right? They're in their mind, they play victim, get angry, get concerned, and then they don't go any further. They just go around in circles like a washing machine. But the CMS is in the middle going, we've got both of them, yeah. Yes. The money's coming. Keep the money going. Keep them both going. And that's what's going on. And that's what's really, really getting amongst me. But going back, gents, we need to have a big sit down. We need to have a look at what we do. We need to pull it all together, like we said. No, we've got some stuff now, which is evidence of corruption, internal corruption. We've got evidence of, mate, Bully, you said the law. They're not above the law. Let me tell you now. Let me tell you now. You can harp that on all you want, because I'm going to tell you something. How many police forces, fraud, and how many of them have sat up? How many of them are taking notice to some of the stuff we are reporting at this moment in time? Right. We got veterans. All right. Come on. We are veterans. Mate, RBL are sitting on a cash load of money. They're shutting things down. All right. They are not... None of the charities, mate.
Do you know something, Clive? And I've thought about this a lot. And, you know, we've all had a heartfelt chat tonight. And I'm sure you probably feel the same. And I probably feel that Craig feels the same. And it guts me to say it. It really, really does. But with the current way that our country is at the moment, the state that this country is in, with what is going on at the moment, I feel embarrassed and I feel ashamed that I have served my country. Because I don't know what for. For this, we've served our country for this.
For the Nazis that we have in office at the moment, and they are Nazis. That's exactly what they are. I know I get told off for saying the N-word, Nazi, but yes, the Conservative government, you are Nazis. Simple as. And the Child Support Agency, Child Maintenance Service, Nazis.
I'm going to tell you, gents, I'm going to tell you now, the way I feel at the moment, I could smash his screen up and absolutely, I could shout down the screen because we've got elected members who are elected to go into Parliament and the House of Commons is for the commoners. And they were elected to represent us in their house and speak up and actually listen to us.
But they're not. They're millionaires.
Craig, understand they're not. And that's what's really frustrating, because leaders are supposed to lead. And it's something I'm teaching all the time at the moment is you've got to lead by example. You set policies, you've got to lead them. The culture is you've got to lead. And I'm actually getting to the stage when I'm frustrated because I'm thinking, why am I teaching people about all this health and safety, about leading, when our government can't even lead? Our government can't even listen to a podcast we done the other day, Craig, with Graham, Wing Commander. Absolutely said it as he was. And we got veterans out there who, I don't know, we got veterans who actually going out their way all the time, and they are trying to get a sit down with Johnny Mercer, other MPs, and even the video I posted the other day, Johnny Mercer waffling. Really, I could batter him. To be honest with you, I could batter him. That's how I feel. I'm feeling absolutely.
Well, do you know what? It's funny. It's funny that you've said that, right? Because I've always said this. Yeah, the British public need to start waking up to what's going on. Yeah, because if this was going on in France or Paris or something like that, the whole of Paris would be burning right now. Now, I'm not suggesting that that is the way that these matters should be dealt with. Yeah, but we have a police service, police force, whatever they're called nowadays, who are supposed to be independent. We have child protection services who are supposed to be independent. We have social services who are supposed to be independent. They are all supposed to be independent organizations, but not one of them is independent because everybody is on the backhanders. But one thing I do know, because we need to conclude this because we've got, you know, we've got to crack on with all of our stuff.
We were only doing 20 minutes.
Well, I know, and we always end up, you know, with so much to cover. But one thing that I do know is that the British public through history are very, very, very slow to react to any situation that happens in their country.
We're very tolerant. so to speak.
We're very, very, very tolerant, but we're very slow to react to anything. And this has happened throughout history. But one thing you have to remember is that we killed a king.
Oh, yes, we did.
And we were very slow to react then. And all I'm finding at the moment is that this government and all of these civil servants who run this country are all just prodding at us all the time. They're just prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding. And eventually, like what it did when that Mark Duggan was shot, with the poll tax riots, all of that, when the British do react, it's unforgiving.
Yeah.
And then all the people that have been treated like shit by the system, like the police, like the army, because we've sworn that oath of allegiance to this country, we're the ones who have to go out and sort out their mess. But maybe with the way that the police are feeling right now, the way that the army are feeling right now, not for much longer will they be the government's pawns.
Gents, and I think
The thing is, if they do that, if that happens, if the army turn against Parliament, what can those 650 MPs do?
but
Not a lot.
yet again, Craig, you know, that's something which at the end of the day, then we're in turmoil then, all right. But let's sit down, let's get our heads together, all right, because look, it's got to change, and the only way it's going to change is by the people. The people have got to say enough is enough, and ministers need to sit down. Ministers who are shouting in there need to actually start banging the table, start earning their money, because at the moment there's only a few ministers I'm hearing their voices, but they're getting drowned out. So, you know, we need to start rallying and backing them ministers up who are shouting, but they need to come to the table with us as well. All right. So
Ben Bradley, Sir Mike Penning,
yeah,
those ministers are the good guys.
yeah. There's a lot of them there. Look, Matt, no, there's a lot in the House of Lords. There's a lot of MPs there. All right, but it only takes a few rotten apples, son. Let me tell you, in the civil service, it only takes a few rotten apples in the system, and they're in good positions. So, look, as you said, let's round this up. We've got about 2 minutes left. So, have your say, and then say good night, and then I'll go in last.
I'm just going to turn around and say very, very quickly, watch what Priti Patel has done with the inquest that's going on at the moment, where all that Field Marshal Bramall, some of them lords and stuff like that were rounded up, all on the High Court judge that signed that warrant off. It looked like he was misled by that Hogan Howe, Crescenda Dick. She's involved in it as well. Crescenda Dick, they're all involved in this thing that's going on at the moment. And I personally think that this is going to be the straw that actually breaks the camel's back, because the police went out there and raided all of these houses of these very high profile people. I mean, he was a Field Marshal Bramall, and they went into his house and they nicked him for kiddie fiddling. And he had they hadn't a shred of evidence on him. This is a huge scandal that's happening at the moment. And it's all been kind of squashed by the press. But Priti Patel, in all fairness to her, she has instigated this, and she has opened up an independent inquiry. And I'm telling you, there are people in very, very powerful positions out there at the moment that are absolutely shitting themselves, because this is what could bring down the establishment.
Okay. Craig, do you want to follow that one?
No, I'm just going to wish everyone a good evening. And I love you all.
I love you all as well. It's been amazing to see you, Clive. I'm a bit upset that you're upset tonight. I'm a bit upset because you're very bubbly. You're a big personality, and I can see that you're very emotional.
No, look. I've just had enough, mate. I've just had enough of people being trampled over. People ladies and gentlemen, anybody watching this, you know, for a long time, British people, we never stand up and say what's on our minds. We never complain if we have something. We always just, don't worry about it. Don't worry. How many times have people been in restaurants and they've had bad service and then they never complain. They pay the bill, they usually tip and they walk out. And I tell you now, what's really frustrating and sad is watching what's going on, watching how people are being mistreated, and watching how we've gone from a great nation and I feel we're just being stepped all over, and do what we tell you to do and don't do what we say, don't do what we do. That's what I'm getting across at the moment from the powers to be. And that's what's really getting at me, because it's going to continue.
People have got to watch Viva Vendetta.
It's like, but Craig, it's going to be too late, because people need to start waking up now, because it's getting to the stage where we're on the point of no return. We might have passed that area already, and there's so much coming. You know, a lot of people don't understand what's coming behind COVID.
They don't realise what's going on because they're not affected by it. And then by the time they do realise the shit, then that's it, too late.
And that's my biggest concern is what we're seeing at the moment is scratching the surface. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, we tried to do this for 20 minutes. We've gone an hour because there was so much in there. And there's still so much.
There's still so much that we can talk about.
We're only just scratching the surface. All right. If you want to get in touch, have a chat, definitely do. I'm going to be all right because I'm going to go and meditate now, and I'm just going to let it all go. And that's what I do, because I've learned how to go through my thoughts. But while I've been on here, my thoughts have been running 100 miles an hour. My emotions have been getting it in me all the time, and yeah. It's an horrible place we're going to be in if we don't stop now and get a grip of it. So that's where we are. Everybody take care. If you're feeling a bit down, don't forget caring is sharing. Speak out. Talk to people. All right? Because we've still got to love each other. That's the biggest thing.
Of course. But it's always love here. There's always love here.
Love you all the time.
Love you guys. Take care, yeah?
Love you. Bye.